But what's the EV news?
I mean, the first one, we kind of all saw it coming. I think this was like a week ago, but Roadster and Cybertruck are both officially delayed.
Officially, yeah. And it's funny because every Tesla officially piece of news is typically just Elon tweeting. Like Tesla's accounts didn't share this. Like this didn't come from Tesla. This is literally Elon replying to someone on Twitter, which is usually how these headphones arrive. But we'll just go with, officially confirmed.
When you go to order them now, is the delivery date changed?
There never was a delivery date.
There never was? Not even on Cybertruck?
That's a good question.
Because I remember so many people when we first talked about the F-150 saying like, well, Cybertruck's going to be here by the end of the year. And we're like adamant about it. And I was always like, we'll see.
Yeah.
I actually had more hope for the Cybertruck because of the whole, the truck is built like that because it's supposed to be easier to manufacture. And the body type is supposed to be being able to be pumped out for like fleets and stuff like that. But
that's when you start manufacturing. So they have not started manufacturing.
True. And it is getting pretty close to the end of 2021.
Yeah.
So we kind of saw it coming.
I'm on Tesla's site right now. Cybertruck does not seem to have a delivery date year anymore.
Okay.
I suppose they removed it, but it's definitely not coming out this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the one thing that keeps coming up is the order of suspected releases. Cybertruck was announced after the Roadster, technically, unveiling, but it is definitely a priority to come out before the Roadster.
Yeah,
I think they've talked about this. The more likely useful vehicle for Tesla, Cybertruck with the 4680 batteries. They might even be more likely to refresh Model 3 and Model Y with 4680 batteries before they do Roadster at the end. That's dessert. That's how Elon always phrases and explains it. So priority on Roadster is very low and always will be. I'm personally totally fine with that. I wasn't expecting it to come out anytime soon, but this is confirmation that...
Cybertruck or Roadster you're talking about?
About Roadster. Okay. Roadster will be at least 2023, which to me means 2024 at the best. It's not going to be on time.
It's such a shame. They've had some of these like pre-order payments for a very long time. I mean, just the amount of money they could have made off of those if like investing them or something like that.
Well, that's been their thing, is if any of these people, including myself, used the money we deposited and literally just bought Tesla stock instead, what that would have turned into is
and it's not just Tesla doing it anymore. I don't get why like Ford's doing it, Rivian's doing it. Canoe's doing these, like, this is much less. It's the $100 like refundable ones. I don't love that. That's not a thing I like at all.
It's a very EV thing. I might not have been in the car world long enough to notice this, but I don't really see that many regular gas cars taking $100 deposits 4 years before they're supposed to get announced, you know?
The only thing I can think of is, well, not $100 deposits, but I'm sure some of those like top end, top end, like brutal supercars are doing stuff like that. But you're right. Nothing like for the average consumer is doing stuff like that. As far as I know, maybe something, but it's not a normal thing. But anyways, we'll move on. VW released a concept tease of it's called the ID Life. It looks kind of like a mid-size hatchback, so not quite like a crossover. Very, very boxy, almost like the old Scions. Now, this is a concept supposed to come out in 2025. I think the biggest thing here is we're seeing a price tag of what's supposed to be around $24,000. And that's just a price tag that I think EV needs to hit and needs to hit as fast as possible. So that's the main reason I just wanted to bring this up.
I agree that that's a price tag that's admirable. I just had to look up the article to see a date. They're saying 2025.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So about 4 years.
I would love to see that way sooner. I mean, any car. It's not even just Volkswagen. I don't care that this is Volkswagen at all. I just want to see an under $25,000 EV that has admirable range. I'm talking at least over 200.
I think that's the key, is these powertrains are the main cost driver of like what prices these cars. I mean, we've all talked about Tesla interiors in the past. That's not why they're expensive. It's because of the motors and the batteries.
Yeah, for sure.
So what we're really talking about is when can we get a $24,000 good mass-produced high wattage, like decent sized battery in a car. I would be willing to bet Tesla will get there first, and I don't know when that will be, but it's nice to see others also committing to the same thing. I'm also looking at the picture of it, And
yeah, the picture's kind of strange.
It looks kind of like something I'd see at CES, you know?
It does look very CES. It's the lights and the front thing, I said they kind of looked like e-paper almost. Like it just looks like lights that are just kind of glowing and not really actual lights. But again, it's a concept. Like no part of me thinks it will look like this picture at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think Tesla will be the first one to get down that far. My main reasoning behind that is because like the cheapest one you can buy right now is 40. Like 15,000 is a big difference in cars.
Yes.
I mean, I think they're the most advanced out of all of them for sure.
That's why I'm betting on Tesla.
Yeah, they're selling so many cars at these higher price points and everything. Are they going to now develop another one? I mean, we just saw Cybertruck get delayed. I don't even count Roadsters being delayed as like anything. I count towards their regular manufacturing because, like you said, it's like their cream of the crop top line, not major selling one.
Yeah.
I don't know that I wouldn't doubt if we see something like, which we'll talk about next, Toyota or Honda or one of them maybe getting there. I just hope there's one before 2025. Before 2025.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt in my mind they're all working on it. I just think if we're waiting for the first generation of each of them, and we're also seeing Tesla's like fourth generation coming out soon, there's a pretty good chance the ones that have been working on it the longest and who have gotten the furthest will be the first to get to this next step. But we'll see. And it would be really impressive if Volkswagen leapfrogged Tesla's entire
I think it would
drivetrain tech.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of these companies went after that market because that's the market that's not being hit right now. I mean, like the Model 3 is a huge milestone in EVs in general because of how much cheaper it got, but a $40,000 car is not an affordable car by any means. Like
I think they all know that if they could make a $25,000 car right now, they would definitely do it because it would clearly sell a lot. I just think they don't have the tech to be able to make them that well. So it's who's going to get the batteries, who's going to make the drivetrain efficiency, who's going to do it first. So
we'll see.
Also, these interior pictures are wild.
I don't think I even.
If you think
Tesla's, dude, it reminds me of that like total bullcrap concept car that BMW showed us, which just like, remember we sat in and they're like, don't scoot across the back seat. It doesn't actually have supports in the middle. It's basically cardboard. And like,
this was funny.
No part of me thinks that this is what the interior will look like. If it's a $25,000 car, like it'll be very plain on the inside.
2025 though? 2025? Maybe. It's got a yoke for those who are listening to audio only. It has a yoke, and
look at the back.
It appears to be using your smartphone as the main and only display. So you know how Model 3 has one display in the middle, and that's like your speedometer and the map and everything? It looks like you don't even get that. You just put your phone there, and maybe that's saving a lot of money, but that's a very interesting concept.
It looks like if the like BDI is like this modern furniture company that we buy a lot of. It looks like very like mid-century modern interior, like doesn't look like a car. Also the gas pedal has a play button and the brake pedal has a pause button.
That's hilarious.
Which is so dumb. And there's like some touchscreen stuff. This concept is ridiculous. I mean, like if I was in a video game and I play this, I'd be like, this is really unrealistic.
It is, but you know, when they say it's the future,
wait, what?
And it's a couple years out, I'm just
go to picture 18.
18.
I'm going to just describe 17. This. The front dash like has a giant screen that pops out.
I did a demo of this. Okay, so Volkswagen's basically banking on the fact that autonomous vehicles will be so good by the time these come out that you can just completely ignore the outside of the car. And you do have a wheel there for takeover when you're manual, but you can just cover the windshield in a blackout shade and put a movie up and watch it instead of looking out the windshield. Yeah.
I had way more hopes for this and the further into the pictures I clicked, the more I think this is just I don't know. I don't like
it's very wishful.
I don't like seeing all the wishful parts of this. Like I'm just wishing for a cheap EV because I want to not have as many pollutants in the air and like do something that's towards going green and affordable. This is like, I don't. Yeah,
we'll see.
This feels ridiculous.
My biggest skepticism is actually in one of the specs. And when you project this far in the future, it's kind of hard to get specs right in tech because tech moves fast. But they're saying 57 kilowatt hour battery, 250 mile range. And this is apparently with the European WLTP testing cycle. I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but I'm hoping by 2025, 250 miles of range is like a base.
I would hope that's what I mean about this, because we have the Mini Cooper that's like 22, right? 22,000, but its range is like 100 miles.
100 miles.
So like, if you're in a city, that's great. I want something that can do at least 200. Like you said, 250 should be like the absolute base for EVs we're looking at. But just that, like, the biggest thing of that $25,000 price tag is once you get 3 years into that and you have used cars, you're starting to look at under 20,000. And I think the used EV market's going to be huge because they should potentially last much longer than gas vehicles. I just think that's a milestone we have to hit.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see who gets there.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So next up, we have Toyota claiming that it's going to invest $13.6 billion into car batteries over the next decade. I think this is really important. Toyota is the largest car manufacturer worldwide by volume. I mean, it's Toyota. If you're driving out on the street, you're seeing a Camry and a Corolla, probably almost every other car. They're gigantic, but we haven't seen them, like, they don't have an EV yet. They have one concept car with no date as far as I know.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's very strange to me, especially because they are the people who started the whole kind of like better gas mileage movement with the Prius.
Yeah, the Prius is like one of the best fuel economy cars out there.
Yeah.
People love that thing. And Toyota hasn't made a pure EV yet, a battery EV.
Real quick, do you know when the first Prius was sold?
What year?
Yeah.
I'm just going to spitball guess like 2004.
Pretty close. The first one in Japan was in 1997. Whoa. Then worldwide, they were first sold in 2000. So the Prius has been around for a really, really long time.
It has.
So that is crazy to me that Toyota's been working on this type of car. I mean, it's a hybrid, still has electric motors. It's very different, but it's still trying to make, kind of a greener emission. 20 years and they still don't have an EV out. That's crazy to me.
One of my professors, I've tweeted this before, but one of my professors from college once told me you should never give a presentation with a number in it without some context for that number.
So you're saying the 13.6 billion.
When I hear Toyota is investing 13.6 billion in car batteries over the next decade, that sounds like a lot, but is that a lot compared to other car companies' investments?
I have a couple little... all right, so to break down the numbers a little bit, and still this is all, planned, said, everything. $13.6 billion for battery tech over the next decade. $9 billion of that is straight into production. Plans to have 10 battery production lines by 2025, and then another 70 across the world after that. It says, judging by these numbers, it should produce around 200 gigawatt hours of batteries. And then if you want to compare that to something, Volkswagen's plans are to produce 240 gigawatts in Europe alone by 2030, and Ford has said they're planning to do 240 gigawatt hours (GWH) of batteries globally by 2030 as well. And then, Adam, what did you just say? You said Tesla just invested $12 billion last year.
$12 billion in 2020 over the next 2 years into electric cars and batteries.
Yeah, but Tesla only makes electric cars. So that's interesting.
Yeah, well, that's electric cars too. I don't know if this is
right, and that's not just batteries.
Just car. Yeah. I mean, like I said before, Toyota. I just like seeing Toyota going into EVs in general. I think they're a great car company. I think it's another one where we've talked about how the F-150 is so important to EVs because of the loyalty behind the F-150 line and pickup trucks in general. Toyota is one of those companies you just think of customer loyalty behind it. And I think they would be, especially globally, like they're very popular in the US, but they're even more popular overseas.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I the more competition, the merrier. I want to see every car manufacturer attempt to make a good EV as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. That's what, this to me is like, I'm glad I'm hearing that, Toyota, but I want you to do this faster. I want you to have an EV car out here. They have this like, it's called the BZ4X. It's like a crossover SUV because who isn't attempting to make a crossover SUV at this point? But I just want them to go faster. I like their cars a lot. In fact, I mean, we wanted to talk about it on here. I'm at the point where my car it's at the end of its life. I think I need to get a new one by the end of the month. been debating a lot of things. You probably would assume I'm going to get a Tesla because of how much we talk about it here, but I've decided not to.
Already decided?
I've already decided. I'm between a couple different cars.
Okay.
I have decided, as much as I want an EV for many different reasons, I don't think right now is the right time to get one for me personally.
Is that because you can't get any EV that's not a Tesla? Or is it because no EV speaks to you enough?
So it's a whole mix of things. I just currently moved. It is back to where I grew up. It is very out in kind of the middle of nowhere. I love it. I absolutely love living out there. I love Tesla. I really, really like the Model Y. It would probably be at the top of my price point for a car. But my biggest concerns with it right now are I don't have a single Tesla service center within an hour from where I live. I see that being a big issue it's one of those things where like most of the time it's probably not an issue, but when it is, that just feels like an absolute nightmare.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip. It's Techtember, so you know what that means. There's a lot more coming.
There's a lot more coming.
That's what that means. And it's all good stuff. Like we could say there's a lot more coming in February and it wouldn't really mean as much. When we say there's a lot more coming in September, it's all good stuff. So get subscribed.
Please
hit the button.
Do it up right now.